Hey there, it's Brandon Burns from Runway, your head of community. I'm back here on the couch, a different couch. It's like a black-brown couch, isn't it? And I've got a really special guest with me, Fiona Lucas from I Respect Online. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
It's good to have you on the couch. So you can probably see in the background, we've got heaps of startups and businesses participating in an induction today. And it was awesome that Fiona dropped by, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to share with our audience her expertise, you know, and her background and what exactly she's up to now. And yeah, I mean, I thought I'd get you on just to tell us all, you obviously do some work with Upstart, which is a partner of ours, and then also with Runway. So maybe just tell everyone, sort of set the scene, who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, my name's Fiona Lucas. I Respect Online is my main little biz. So I'm a social media strategist, mostly, and I wear a few other hats on the side. Cyber security, cyber safety is one of my other hats. And mostly I work with people to develop strategies so that they really can understand the online space and leverage it, and so that we can find the unique points of difference so that they stand out online in a very, very crowded space. And I also do a lot of work with community development now, online communities.
Oh, cool. That's unreal. Fiona and I met actually as co-members of a B&I chapter, so I can personally attest to her ability when it comes to social strategy. But what I really wanted to ask her today was, given our audience is predominantly early stage startups and businesses who are just starting on their journey, I'm sure a lot of them are all going to think, well, you know, whatever our business is, we're going to need social media. So without even knowing what the industry is of a business, what are those key tips that you can give them when they're considering getting around to incorporating social media, you know, into their strategy, into their business? Are there key questions they need to ask themselves before they start just posting and creating profiles? Or, you know, what's the key thing a business can really do to do it properly?
I think I'll, pick up on exactly what you said at the start, was you said when they're going to go onto social media. I think you should, as initially, with your very beginnings of your strategy, already have, when you're developing a product, a marketing idea in mind, and you need to have this holistic approach so that everything that you do will feed in more naturally. So if you sort of just develop just a program and you haven't thought about any of these things, you tend to then have to do a lot of catch up, whereas there's a lot of duplication. So when you're actually developing your product, you're looking at the ideal market for that product, then developing those avatars from the start then will actually help you when you're doing your marketing.
Totally.
And the number one thing is you have to have a strategy. A lot of people think their strategy is just like content, like we're just gonna, you know, okay, I'm gonna throw out content, you know, 5 times a week or something like this. That's not the best way to go. For some businesses, posting once a week will work. It really, everybody's so individual. But what matters most is that you actually have got a firm, concrete base from which you're moving from. In that case, what you've done is you've identified the goals that you're actually trying to do. So as a startup, usually it's brand awareness would be the first thing that you're looking for, because, you know, sales are great, but you need to be building the awareness for what your product is. Now, at the same time, you can be running 2 or 3 different campaigns that are actually looking for those sales and conversions as well. But you will be running some sort of a campaign in order to get the brand awareness and get the right people on board and watching you. Now, all of those things that you're collecting will mean that you've then got better retargeting down the line, because you're already gathering an interested audience. So that's where it's really important to have that strategy, because it'll identify all the steps you need. Putting your things like your tracking pixels and stuff like that is really important right from the get-go, because anyone that's just interested in the most basic landing page that you've started, if you can collect some data on that, well, then you've already got something that you can measure. So being able to measure, to me, is really important.
So it almost sounds, that's fantastic, it's a great point. So it almost sounds like, as a startup, when you start up having an online presence, make sure you've got everything set up to be able to track and monitor. Even if it's a minimal amount of traffic that comes to you initially, get to know everything you can about them. And then obviously you've got a pool of data, and it's similar to the lean startup that we share here. You've got some data to work with and try and start to see some commonalities. And then it sounds like that with social as well helps inform making better decisions ongoing.
It does, and the best thing about it, of course, is that your cost per click and per conversion will be lower if you're already being able to target a better audience rather than every time it's a cold audience, it's just like, you know, throwing things to the wind a little bit and hoping to see what sticks.
Yes.
Whereas the more data we've got, the more concentrated you can be within regards to how you're setting up your, for example, advertising campaigns. And I want to add too that organic is not dead either. There are ways to get organic things working for you, particularly startup, because it can be a lot of excitement if you're in an industry, especially like a supportive industry like Runway, where you've got a lot of people that are already here on your team. So even using a small strategy of like getting everybody who partners you to sort of share something out about your new startup, that's already going to generate some interest for you as well. So you know, leveraging everything you can, and then you know, like the viral video thing, you know, that's always fun. It's not easy to create a viral video that's actually sensible, like that has a product, but it can be done. And getting the right creative team around you is really important for that as well. There's so much you can do for yourself, but you need to have that kind of mix of what is going to work and what isn't going to work. So something on your website, you want to be pretty lush and it's kind of your evergreen content that's going to keep being there all the time and that you'll be adding to. Social media is like eat it up real quick, let's throw it out. It's biteable little chunks of information. So they're the things that you can do really quickly, and there's lots of little programs and heaps of apps that you can use to quickly create content. And the biggest thing is this sort of thing. Being live, or else having video where you're real people connecting, sharing the experience, sharing your product, sharing the journey is so important. That's what we hear all the time now about telling stories, I guess, don't we?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, we're going to have to do this again because we hardly got through like a tenth of what we probably really want to share with the audience. So I'm going to get Fiona back on the couch very soon. But tell me, right, in the meantime, for those watching and listening who do want to reach out and find out more about how you might be able to help them on their journey, what's the best way to do that?
They can reach out to me on most of the social media platforms, LinkedIn or Facebook, probably the best places to reach out directly to me. So you find me as Fiona Lucas on LinkedIn, and you'll find me at I Respect Online, so you can just message me there, and yeah, always happy to help. You know, pretty generous with a little bit of initial advice too. So I think it's really important. I love the whole startup scene. I think it's great. We have a world now where we're not